Welcome everyone to the next biology video. Today we're going to look at mitosis and the cell cycle. So in case you're not sure about mitosis and what it is, I put a definition here to start with. Cell division resulting in two identical daughter cells. Now what that means is one cell is splitting into two identical cells. And the reason we need to do this is for growth and repair. And we'll be looking at that in a little bit more detail later in the video. Okay, so a little starter for you here. See if you can match up these 5 words: gene, chromosome, nucleus, DNA, and mitosis, and see if you can match them to the definitions there. Stop the video, have a little go on a piece of paper, and I'll give you the answers in a second. Right, well done. Hopefully you've had a go. Now, if you know all of these, that is fabulous. If you don't, you will need to know these definitions. So I suggest you jot them down and make a note of them. So let's color code them so you can see which is which. It's easier than me trying to tell you. So a gene is a short section of DNA which controls characteristics. So for example, you've got genes for eye color. You've got genes for hair color, things like that. Chromosome is a long strand of coiled up DNA. Generally, we can't see DNA in cells unless it's coiled up into a chromosome. Nucleus, where the genetic information is found. DNA is a unique chemical molecule. And mitosis is a type of cell division. Now, please don't muddle this with meiosis, which we'll do in another video, but you are often asked to compare the two, so we'll look at that in the next video as well. Right, give yourself a mark out of 5 there. If you've got 5, that's fabulous. If you've got a few less, then jot them down and you know them for next time. Right, so what we need to do before we go into the mitosis is just have a little look at DNA. This should be a recap for you. Human cells, now this isn't all cells in other species, but humans, a cell nucleus, so let's say a skin cell, should have 46 chromosomes, or you can say 23 pairs. And they are long strands of coiled up DNA, and they look like this. Okay, you've probably seen this version of a chromosome. Now, if we uncoil them, we get this long strand of DNA. Now, you've got many miles of DNA in your cells, more than we can count. But if we take a small section of DNA, that is a gene. So this might be the gene for freckles, might be the gene for eye color. Depends where in the DNA it is. Okay, so we know about genes, we know about DNA. So let's move on and have a little look at our big question. So our question is, how do we go from a single fertilized egg? Here we've got an egg and a sperm, and they join together and make one whole cell. How do we go from this one whole cell to many cells? This is the embryo that's growing, and the answer is we do that by mitosis. So one cell splitting into 2, those 2 cells splitting into 4, those 4 cells splitting into 8, and so on. Okay, they keep splitting, one cell becomes 2. Right, so we've got some pictures here of mitosis, and this is under a microscope. And you won't know what all these mean just yet, but let's have a little look. So this is our one cell here, and just looks like a normal cell at the moment. All those chromosomes become visible because they coil up, and they're a lot darker when they're coiled because there's a lot more mass, and they coil up here in the middle of our cell. Now they then line up in the center of the cell here, and they pull apart in different directions. So this lot of chromosomes will be identical to this lot of chromosomes. They're just pulling to the end of the cell, And then eventually a membrane there forms down the middle. And when it does, it becomes two separate cells. Now, understand that it's quite hard to see, but you need to be aware of these microscope pictures. So let's carry on and see what else we can see. So let's have a look at the cell cycle. So just like animals have a cycle, a life cycle, cells have a cycle too. And they will start as one cell. So this cell here is our original cell. Now for it to divide into two, it has to get bigger and it has to increase the number of organelles. So when we think about organelles, we're thinking about all those little things inside the cells like mitochondria, ribosomes, chloroplasts if it's a plant cell. All those tiny things, they're organelles. So it needs more of them and the cell needs to get bigger. So that is stage one. Our cell has gone from here. It's grown and got bigger and we've got some more organelles there. Now, for it to divide and produce two identical cells, the chromosomes have to duplicate or double. If they don't double, we won't get identical cells. Now, we've just got here this one chromosome, but obviously you've got 23 pairs, but we're just showing one because it's easier. So DNA replication. Now you can say replicate, you can say double, you can say duplicate, all means the same thing. It's doubling in number. Once that's happened, the cell then is ready to divide. And we get stage two down here. And stage two, the nucleus here starts to divide. And once it does, the cell then splits down the middle and it becomes two cells. And then one of those cells will go off and follow this cell cycle again. And this one will go off and do another cell cycle. So one became two, then two will become four, then four will become eight. I know I keep saying that, but it comes up so many times in exams. Okay, so that's the cell cycle. So we've looked at cell cycle, and in the cell cycle here, we've got mitosis, which is splitting of that cell. Now, I said we'd look a bit more about why we need to do this. So we've got some lovely pictures over here of injuries. So the reason cells divide and undergo mitosis is there's three reasons. And this is plants as well, not just animals. To grow, for example, to develop a baby. If you imagine how big you were when you were 3 years old, and now imagine how big you are now, you've got a lot more cells now than you had then. And because when you're growing, you'll get lots and lots of mitosis going on so that you're getting lots and lots of new cells. To replace worn out cells, because cells do wear out in the end, and also to repair damaged tissue. So if you're asked a question, why do we need mitosis or why does mitosis happen? You are going to say for growth and repair. That's a standard answer, growth and repair. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. So, little challenge for you. We need to try and put these in order of the cell cycle. So pause the video and have a little go. Right, hopefully you've had a little look and tried to have a go. So let's put them in order, in number order. So number one, the cell increases in size and then the chromosomes make copies of themselves. Number two, the number of organelles increases. Number three, chromosomes pull to the opposite end of the cell. Number four, the nucleus divides. Number five, the cell membrane and cytoplasm divide. And then number 6, the cell fully divides to make 2 new cells. So very well done if you got that correct. That is amazing. Give yourself a mark out of 6. And now we're going to have a look at some exam questions. Which process makes 2 identical new body cells for growth and repair? So we've got 3 options here: differentiation, fertilization, or mitosis. So we can, even if you don't know, you can probably do it by elimination. But the answer is mitosis. Okay, then you might get a cell cycle here. Now this shows 3 stages of the cell cycle. If you get these dotted lines here, the first thing you need to do is to count them up, because they will probably ask you a question about what proportion of the cell cycle is in, let's say, stage 2, or what percentage of the cell cycle, or something like that. So in this one, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 10 here, 10 sections, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in stage 1, 1 in stage 2, and 2 in stage 3. So let's see what it's going to ask us. Let's go down to the next page. Draw one line from each stage of the cell cycle to what happens during that stage. So we've got 3 stages, and we've got to line them up here to get them correct. Okay, so stage 1, have a little look, see if you can figure out which one it is. Okay, the cell grows and the chromosomes replicate. That's stage 1. Stage 2, have a look, see if you can figure out which one it is. It's this one. One set of chromosomes is pulled to each end of the cell. And then stage 3 is when they split. So we're looking for something about dividing. Here we go. The cytoplasm and cell membrane divide to form 2 new cells. Okay, 2 marks for that. So if you got it right, very well done. Let's go down a little bit here. This next question. What percentage of the total time for the cell cycle is taken by stage 1? And this is 2 marks here. Okay, let's go back to the cell cycle and have a look. So we want stage 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections out of 10. Now 7 out of 10 is the same as 70%. If you didn't know that, you can put 7 divided by 10 and then times it by 100. And you should get the same answer in your calculator. So 70%. Right, let's go back to our question and see what the next bit is. Okay, a cell divides to form 2 new cells every 24 hours. How many days will it take for the original cell to divide into 8 cells? 1, 3, 6, or 8. So this is why I kept saying that 1 cell divides into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8, 8 into 16. So here, there'll be 2 cells after 24 hours. So after another 24 hours, there'll be 4 cells, and another 24 hours, there'll be 8 cells. So our answer is 3. The chromosomes contain the genetic material. Name the chemical which the genetic material is made from. So if you get that, we're going to want DNA.